What's going on, everybody? So, last week was semi-eventful for me. It was South by Southwest here in Austin, which, if you're not familiar with what it is, it's a big, several-week-long, I don't want to just say festival, because at its core, it's industry events. There's interactive education, there's filmmaking, and the part that I care about, and the part that really I think brings the most people here, is the music week. And that's a music industry thing, but it's also kind of a festival, I guess. Bands from all over the country and all over the world converge on Austin. I think like 300,000 people or something come to town. And I like to go downtown Wednesday, Thursday, Friday of that week around 2 o'clock or so in the afternoon. And I stay till about 5 when everybody gets off work, and then I go home. The reason I go during that time is all the bars are open. There are bands playing in every single bar. I wonder if they do inspections there. I need to get my bike inspected. Anyway, so you can see none of the bars have covers or need wristbands to get into during the day. And there's always beer specials. So you can wander around and drink cheap beer and hear bands that you would never get a chance to hear, you know, all week. It's great, I love it. But this year, the Tuesday of that week was St. Paddy's Day, which, by the way, it's Patty, not Patty. Patty is Patrick, Patty is Patricia. Okay, St. Patrick was a guy. So, yeah, I go downtown to the kind of big Irish pub. And they have a tent out, and they're doing a big event. It's, you know, they do this even when it's not South by, but it's always right around South by. I want a Baja Beetle, they're so cool. Anyway, so I go there, I get down there, I think it was around 1 o'clock. I had to circle the block like 5 or 6 times trying to find a parking spot. And I find well, I'm noticing there are motorcycles parked, and this is kind of common. There were definitely more, though. There were motorcycles parked everywhere where there was a place to, enough room to stick a bike. You know, between cars if there was enough space, at the end of parking zones, kind of right next to the sign. And on about my 5th lap around one of the blocks, I see about an 8-foot gap between 2 cars. So I'm like, I look, I don't see any signs. Boom. I back the bike into the spot, hang my helmet on the helmet lock, because I don't want to carry it. Off to the bar I go. Having ridden around the block like, 5 or 6 times, and different blocks, not just that same block, I wasn't really paying attention to where I had parked. So about an hour after I got into the bar, I had completely forgotten where I parked. And I was kind of sweating that, but I was like, whatever. I'll figure it out when I come out. Well, fast forward to about 9 o'clock. I'm in there having a beer with Supermoto. He works downtown, and his wife works at this bar. And I go to leave, and I can't find my bike. And I kind of chalk it up to, well, stupid, you didn't kind of think about where you parked. And I wander around, and I can't find it. And I call Supermoto, and he rides his bike back up. I hop on his DR650, and I ride it around town trying to figure out where I parked. As I'm riding around, he texts me, because he has the same kind of phone mount like I do here. He texts me and says, "Was your helmet on your bike?" I said, "Yes." He goes, "Okay, I just confirmed with the valet guys that it was towed. That it was parked here and it was towed." And I'm like, motherfucker. Because here's the thing. That zone evidently was a valet zone, but it didn't turn into a valet zone until 5 p.m. Okay, that's fine. But shouldn't there at 1 o'clock, no, not just at 1 o'clock, but at all times, shouldn't there be a sign that says no parking here after 5 p.m.? But there wasn't. There was nothing to indicate that it was going to turn into a valet zone. So I'm like, shit. I call my wife, she comes down to get me. I had to call 4 towing companies to find out where my bike was. I called one, they're like, "What's your license plate?" I didn't know what my license plate was, so I went on my Facebook. Actually, I went into a Facebook chat where I had texted a picture of my broken in half license plate, the repair I had done to it. I did that to get my license plate number. So I called them back and said, hey, here's the license plate number. And they're like, yep, we got it here. $171. So shit. So I got a ride down. I got my bike out of the impound. It was $171. I go to put my helmet on, which amazingly my gloves were tucked into my helmet, and I don't really know how they towed my bike because my steering was locked to the side. So if they had to roll it up onto a flatbed, which is most likely how they did it, I don't really know how they, I mean, did the guy just kind of drag it? I don't know. I mean, the bike was fine. I just kind of wonder. I guess I should have asked him. But yeah, so I go in there to get my bike, and there's a WR250 missing the radiator shrouds and headlight, obviously well crashed, with about an inch of dust on it. And I asked the guy about it, and he's like, yeah, we don't know whose it is. It's been here for a while. And I you know, so it's probably a stolen bike. I went back and I posted about it on the Austin Supermoto Riders page, and nobody's claimed it, so I might watch for when their next auction is and see if I can pick it up for like 500 bucks. I don't know what I'll do with it if I get it, because it'll be a... does a stolen bike get a salvage title? I don't know. I probably won't buy it anyway, but, you know, if I can get it for like 500 bucks, maybe. We'll see. So I go to put my helmet on, and a parking ticket falls out. A $25 parking ticket. And I mean, that's not that much money, but it's like, damn it, you towed my bike. You knew it was going to cost me like 175 bucks to get it out of the impound lot, and then I'd have to get a ride down. So you had to add insult to injury and make my life that much more difficult by charging me an extra $25. You know, you couldn't just let it go with, well, he's got to pay to get his bike out of impound. You know? It sucked, man. It really sucked. Anyway, I'm at school, so I gotta go in. I'm apparently running late. How did that happen? I left the house like plenty of time. Whatever. I'll talk to everybody later. See ya. Now, the R3, on the other hand, Yamaha's rating it at 42. I've read 45 in a couple places. And that might not sound like a lot of power. And it really, I mean, it isn't a lot of power,